Welcome back to Hook Boxing. Today we're joined by Jiyan Oguz. Is that right? Hoping that's
That's correct, yeah. It's
cool.
Jiyan Oguz.
Oguz. Okay. I forgot the Z on that. Not too bad.
That's
I'm
right.
going to blame IFL TV because they said it wrong. So I was
Yeah,
going off
yeah,
of
I
that.
think that's all right. I think they
Wow.
did pronounce it wrong as well.
Yeah. That's fine. So you're 2-0, 26 years old, and you fight at Super Feather.
That's
Um,
right, yeah.
yeah. You had your first fight against Luke Fash in November. And were
Yeah.
you nervous? Were you nervous at all for that?
Um, to be honest with that one, there was a lot of emotions there. I was excited. It was like a big thing that uh had like a big build up to that for years, I always,
Mm.
uh, planned on turning pro and having my professional debut and whatnot. So there was a lot of excitement, there was a bit of nerves. Was a bit of everything to be honest, but more than anything, I was ready for it and I was just excited to go get it done.
Mm. I saw an interview. I'll be honest, I can't remember the channel name, otherwise I would say it.
Yeah.
But I saw an interview after that fight, and I mean, you were clearly like happy you'd won, but you didn't seem that bothered in a good way. Of
Okay.
it was kind of you'd done your job, but you just wanted to get to the next one, which was sort of 3.5 weeks later. Was that
Yeah.
is that an accurate reading of it, or was it just the 3 minutes I saw?
I think yeah, I mean, it's always good to get the win and get the job done, but I see myself not to sound like cocky or arrogant and stuff, but I see myself like, far above all of this. So I'm just looking to the stage I'm at is still the start, so you got to take it one step at a time. But I'm just eager just to move up and um, show my ability to everyone and show what I'm about. So these fights are just I just need to like I always expect a lot from myself, so I want to go put on like a really good performance. And even if I do box well, I always set the bar a bit higher, and I want to just you know no matter how I perform, I just want to just push and do even better the next time.
That's good. That's good mindset. Otherwise, you're gonna hit the goal and then you'll get lost.
Yeah,
But
exactly. Yeah.
something we do, which I was meant to do at the start, but I forgot, is I do a bookmark question. So from my last interview, I got that boxer, so Niall Berry in this case, to come up with a question for you for the next one.
Oh,
So he asks, he doesn't know that I'm interviewing you, by the way, so it's just random. But he said, "What
oh.
got you into boxing?" So, what got you into boxing?
With me, there was probably a few factors. Um, well, firstly, one of my cousins was the one who actually he kept telling me to come down to because he was training at the time at one local boxing gym, and he kept telling me you should come down and train or whatnot. Because I was always somewhat into like combat sports and fighting. I always had an interest to it.
Yeah.
Like growing up, I always used to do little sports here and there, like kickboxing. There's nothing that I took seriously, but I was always somewhat into it. So yeah, at the time that I started boxing, I had a few things going on in my life, and it was just it was therapeutic. And when I used to go train, I used to enjoy it. I used to blow some steam, and it just made me feel good. So I kept going, and it was also a challenge as well. Was it boxing's a hard sport, so
Yeah.
it's every time I went to train, it was challenging. So I kind of enjoyed it, and then I kept pursuing it, and eventually one of the coaches just said, "Would you like to, you know, would you give competing a shot?" And I said, "Yeah, why not?" And ever since then, I had my first bout, and and here I am today. I haven't really looked back since.
Mm. So did you? There was no point between. How old were you at that when your coach turned around and said
Uh,
you want to compete?
I was probably around 16, 17.
Okay. So, but in the last sort of 8 years, there's no point where you've ever gone. Yeah, maybe it's not for me now.
For throughout the whole from then to now, there's been times I've had some inactivity and just life got in the way and stuff. But
Yeah,
I would say for the most part, I've been I've been pretty much in the gym. I've been working, and yeah, like there was little gaps here and there, including COVID and just a few other little things here and there. But for the most part, I kind of knew that's what I wanted to do, and I've kind of just stuck with it ever since.
it's very good. You fought a very quick turnaround from Luke Fash to Jack England in
Yeah,
something like 28 days, 29 days difference. Was that
yeah.
planned, or was it just you got through your first fight, did very well, and it was kind of, we'll just put you in this one because you've not got, cuts, bruises. You might as well.
With my coach, he actually told me, I think he told me like, so as soon as we booked for the first fight, as soon as we got the fight with Jake Fash set, I think a week later, my coach said, look, we might as well just get you out again. Uh, Around 3 weeks after that, he said, we'll put you on another show and just before the end of the year, you might as well just, end the year with like two fights. It'll be good
Yeah,
because from January to around March, there's no shows. So he said it'll be good, just to get two fights under your belt before the end of the year. And I thought, you know what, why not? Let's go for it. And that's what we did.
are you looking, you said you're just going back into a camp now, didn't you? So are you looking to
That's
kind of pick up that similar kind of activity, or maybe a little bit slower than sort of a fight a month? But
so probably a little bit slower. We still want to stay busy because
yeah,
well, it's like I said, is I'm 26, so I'm not exactly I'm not like young. I know I'm not old either, but I'd rather just get cracking with things. So
yeah,
um, probably still stay busy throughout the year, but maybe not fight twice in 3 weeks. It's a bit
yeah,
like experiencing it this time. I would it does take a toll on your body and your mind. It's draining and camp's tiring, so it's not easy. So probably space it out a bit more, but still try stay as busy as possible throughout the year.
yeah. And you're, from what I can understand, your sort of main goal is the British title, but
That's
then
right.
anything more you're not going to turn down, obviously. But so at the end of 2024, how close do you think you're going to be? I know you're
Uh,
not probably going to be at the British title, but you could have got a southern area by the end of 2024. That's more than possible.
yeah. Yeah. So I've actually signed with Goodwin as a manager
Yeah,
uh, a few weeks ago. So he's got a little plan for me, and yeah, hopefully just get a few more fights under my belt and maybe start going for the titles toward yeah, like I said, towards the end of the year, Southern area, or maybe
yeah,
early next year. But I'll leave it to my manager and my coach. See what they've got in mind for me. I'll just follow whatever plan they got.
yeah. I mean, to be fair, it does sort of depend on what's going to get thrown your way because boxing's impossible to predict. So
Yeah,
sometimes it's
exactly.
going to be, you'll get lucky in a sense of get what you deserved earlier, or maybe it takes a little bit longer. But I'm
Yeah,
sure it'll
exactly.
happen. You've been fighting sort of longer than boxing, though. As you said in it was the IFL TV one about fighting in school. Is that just
Yeah.
in you then? Is that
Um,
like,
you know, I've always, yeah, ever since I was little, I've always been just felt like I've always enjoyed, and even from fighting in school, it doesn't necessarily always mean like I was in some proper serious fights and stuff. Even just like
oh,
just play fights or fight. Yeah, even sometimes there were occasions where little fights would break out as well. But I've always, I don't know what it is, but I've always somewhat enjoyed fighting.
mm,
And I guess it's the adrenaline and just the excitement that it brings. And yeah, so I guess it comes from somewhere, I don't know where, but it could be
yeah,
also that I am Kurdish, so a lot of Kurdish history. There's always been lots of like fighting and stuff like that. So it could also maybe come from there. God knows.
maybe. So, do you have siblings?
Yeah, I've got a younger sister. Yeah.
Okay, I was expecting sort of older brothers or younger brothers. 'Cause generally, that's sort of a fighting thing because I'm an only child, so I don't have that. But when I ask my friends or people, they always have siblings that they have a fight with, but they're normally brothers. I mean, sure, you could
Yeah, I
fight your
mean,
sister. Don't know how well that would.
I've got a lot of cousins that I'm very close to. So, we used
Oh, okay.
to knock about with them as well. They're all around my age as well. So I grew up with them. They're pretty much like siblings to me. So
Oh, yeah,
I guess that could play a part as well.
yeah. The cousin that sort of got you into boxing in the first place, does he still do it?
No, funny enough, he doesn't know.
No. When did
I
he
think
stop?
you know what? I know he stopped not long after he actually got me into it, but he's had little periods where he does like a bit of training and stuff just to stay fit
Yeah.
and but I think as a thing he doesn't really I don't think he's as into it as he was then.
Okay. Guess that happens. It's just what's going on in people's lives, and then yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You recently said you don't want to do too many four rounders because you don't. You like to warm up into the fights as they go. So
Yeah, yeah.
how many more do you reckon? Well, how many more do you think you'd want to do?
So actually I should be boxing in March and that one's I think we're going to be doing a six rounder, so
Okay,
that was probably my last, yeah, that's probably my last four rounds.
nice.
Yeah.
6 rounds. Yeah, I mean that sets up perfectly for an end of the year 10 rounder or start of next year 10 rounder. So you're on good track. When's your birthday? When do you turn 27?
I'm turning 27 in April the 22nd.
Yeah. So time wise, that works. So you've timed it pretty well. It's not, you're
Yeah.
not an old 26. You actually should be decent enough to go into it
Yeah, hopefully,
at the right sort of times. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, my
No,
coach as well, like he mentioned as well, he said, like, you're not old, but you're not getting any younger. So we'll try
mm,
just kind of fast track you, as obviously without rushing me too much, but taking the right steps when we have to.
yeah. Well, I mean, your first fight, with all respect to Luke Fash, you did find that easy. It was quite clear. I mean, you dominated it quite. You know, you had everything. The range sorted from about the second into the fight. So it's like that for a first fight makes sense because you just need to get used to the, the crowd. Although you would have had that in the amateurs, but still the crowd and York Hall
Yeah,
especially is.
yeah,
I've
yeah,
been there a couple of times. It's amazing, but it's you could have
yeah,
5 people in there and it's loud.
yeah,
So
exactly.
um, I'll be interested to see just from the 4 rounds that I've watched. So I haven't managed to find the Jack England fight. I
Okay.
assume it is on YouTube, but I couldn't find it. So from the 4 rounds I've watched, I'm sort of like I'm interested to see where you do go because that is a high level of boxing. The only
Yeah.
thing, and I don't know if it's maybe just because it's the first fight, or did you struggle to sort of properly plant your feet and put sort of heavier shots in?
Um, yeah, I would say that the first fight had a bit of probably had a part to play in it because, like I was saying, I was very excited and
Mm,
just was just shooting through the roof. So
yeah,
I was kind of uh, bouncing quite a lot and I was just all over the place. I was composed, but I was not as planted as I would have liked to have been.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
whereas I think my second fight, I was a bit more planted with yeah, like I said, I don't know if it is on YouTube actually, but that fight I was a bit more planted than I was the first one. I felt like I was landing some more significant punches. So I think with experience, I'll just start getting especially as the rounds go up, I think you tend to get more planted anyway. So
yeah. I mean, you have to because and especially the way you're fighting. If your
yeah,
first fight had gone on longer, either he would have had to quit on his stool because he would have been so tired from chasing you, or you'd have had to come at you and in which case you would have had to have planted your feet and dug some
Yeah,
shots into him. So
yeah,
it's just the way it's going to
exactly.
go. But
Yeah.
um, who do you watch? Do you watch it? I assume you watch boxing fairly regularly, right?
Um, yeah, I would say that I watch boxing. There's a lot of guys to be honest. I like as of right now. I like I like Terence Crawford. I
Mm.
like Inoue, Canelo. There's one other guy, Jaya Pattaya, who I've only just recently heard of, to be honest, but
Oh
he's
yeah.
really good. And all the Devin Haney's, all these guys. I do watch. I do like to watch them.
Do you ever go back watch some of the older stuff?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I've spent a lot of time watching like the old school fights. Like Sugar Leonard, Duran, even like Chavez, all these guys.
Right, so at super feather we got Joe Cordina, Anthony Kake. They're the sort of two top British guys.
Yeah.
Have you watched a lot of them? Have you seen what sort of they can bring?
Um, I've watched some of Joe Cordina.
Hmm.
I think he's really good, man. And what he was the other name? Sorry.
Anthony Kake. Uh, I'm butchering his surname, I think, but he's
Probably.
who does he fight under? He's very good, but I can't. I don't know enough about him either. To be fair.
Okay. I mean, Joe Cordina. I've seen some clips of him, and he is good, man. I think he's definitely world level. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. So it's not a. But to be honest with you, for the time being, we're just kind of easing into the weight. So I don't think we'll. I think we'll end up actually doing an even lighter weight because I make
All
super
right.
feather quite easy, to be honest. So we'll probably like what my coach got in mind. He wants me to go down to super bantamweight.
Yeah. Okay.
So eventually, that's probably the weight that we'll
Ooh.
end up, fighting for titles and stuff.
So that's cutting 8 pounds. 8 pounds, is it?
I
Yeah.
think so. Something. Yeah.
Yeah. Super Bantam 122, Super Feathers 130. So 8 pounds. Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's not too bad. And it's definitely, yeah, no, I think that's good. I think that's sensible. I mean, obviously, I'm not, I mean, your coach probably knows
Yeah.
more than me, but,
I
uh,
mean, like even he said, we won't do it in one go, but gradually we'll see how we'll go down to featherweight as well. Because I make super feather easy, so it won't be a problem for me to make featherweight. It's only a little few pounds below. And then super bantamweight, it might be a bit more challenging, but I reckon I'll still be able to still make it.
hmm. Well, I think some people can. So, like, it's just depends on just body type, really. It's like some people can sort of just jump between weight divisions, and some people will always just be stuck at one.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But if you're making super feather quite easily, then I, with no background knowledge, would assume super bantam would be okay to make. But so I
Yeah.
have no idea about weight and
Yeah.
that kind of
Even with
stuff.
us,
Yeah.
when as we gradually drop it, we'll kind of figure out if it's going to be possible or not. But I think it should be all right. But time will tell.
Hmm. I've got one last thing to ask you, and that is for a question for my next interview. So, what would you ask a boxer? I don't necessarily know who the next interview is going to be, but so just any
Okay.
question you can think of.
Um, where do you see yourself in 2 years' time? Yeah,
2 years, yeah, I like that. That's good. I've not had that one yet, so I like it.
maybe
Um,
either 2 years. Maybe you can maybe even make it 3 years to make it a bit more interesting. I guess you can probably get a bit further.
I'll say 2 to 3, 2 to 3 years. There you
Yeah, yeah, that's
go.
fair enough.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
No
Um,
problem, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.